The Holdfast Social Club presents So You're Kinda a Big Deal with your hosts, Shawn, Hedley, and Gabe.
And we're live. Look at this. Let's see if I can get this podcast intro to go.
Probably not.
Probably not.
The Holdfast Social Club
Oh, you can actually
presents So You're Kinda a Big Deal with your hosts, Shawn, Hedley, and Gabe.
Oh, it's so funny. It's so glitchy on our headphones. I'm sure it downloads just fine.
So, you're kind of a big deal. Luna, who are you?
I'm Luna. I'm from Vancouver Island. I've been tattooing for 5 years. And
God damn it.
met Shawn by chance at the Deadly convention. And actually, I think the first time I ever met you, you were doing jiu-jitsu in the bar.
Yes.
Choking people out.
I was smothering King Len.
Yeah.
Teaching him who was the real king.
Yeah. That was a really
Yeah.
Nice.
So that was
Awesome.
That was my first convention ever, actually. So
Really?
I was pretty fucking nervous about that because obviously there's a lot of crazy good tattooers there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was even nervous doing that one. I was just like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this convention.
It's such a chaotic environment too. For your first convention, it's nerve-wracking. Like,
Yeah.
What did you think of that kind of to tattoo in that environment?
Honestly, it was a lot like slower than I thought it was going to be, which was like kind of great because it wasn't. I thought it was going to be like a little bit like busier than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Shawn was super nice. I met some really, really awesome tattooers that I've been looking up to for so long. So yeah, it was fucking rad.
Yeah, I like that convention was fun. It reminded me of early Regina, early Saskatoon shows. They were just a lot more small, kind of intimate, like more tattooers than clients, and did some fun tattooing, and then just really just hung out a lot and had a great time, So,
Oh man, that's the first convention I think I had FOMO. I had no intention of going even as a guest.
No.
And the whole weekend when the convention was on, I kept seeing posts, and I was like, "Oh God damn it!"
Yeah. Why you didn't come out for that? I don't know. So,
Oh,
so Luna, where did you get your start?
I did a couple of apprenticeships. So my very first one was actually in Barcelona because I lived there for a while. And
oh, way.
Okay, well, before you move on, we got to get
talk
into
about that.
yeah, so
because you're a young woman. How old were you in Barcelona?
God, I think I moved to Europe when I was like 19.
Oh shit!
On your own, or was it with family?
On my own. Well, actually, with the boyfriend of mine at the time.
Okay.
But it was one of those things where we just kind of like fucking sold all our shit and moved there without really like looking into it.
Yeah.
We had been together for like 4 years, and we decided to do that together. But then, of course, I have an English passport and he doesn't. So it ended up being together, and then after a few months, he had to go back. So I was there on my own after that. But yeah.
Oh, so see ya.
It was hard, but like, you gotta live your life, right? And that was.
Yeah, absolutely.
So were you collecting tattoos at that point?
Yeah.
Were you interested in tattooing?
Yeah, heavily. I started getting tattooed when I was 16 on the island. And the boyfriend at the time, he was a little bit older than me. He was getting tattooed, at Government Street. He actually is tattooing now as well. But he was doing like desk, taking care of the desk stuff there.
Okay.
Counter bitch.
Yeah, so
I did
counter
that.
bitch. So we hung out there a lot, and I, was hanging out with those guys a bunch. And then when we moved away, the first thing we did when we got there was like look for tattoo shops to go and check out, right? So we started out in Switzerland, and there was a really scarce amount of cool tattoo shops there, I have to say. Switzerland's
Yeah. That
Really?
makes
other
sense.
than like obviously like Philip Lou is in Switzerland, but
Yeah.
but like in Zurich itself, it was a little weird. But I did meet my long-term friend, Matt Powers. He's been tattooing since like the 80s. He's fucking cool. So I hung out with him a bunch, and he was one of the people that kind of put it into my head to give it a try. Which was, yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you go?
So you were doing a lot. Sorry, Dave. You were doing a lot of art then too, right?
Yeah.
Is that like, were you painting a lot when you were over there and stuff?
Yeah, so that was my full-time job. From like the time that I was a teenager, I dropped out of school and just started painting, doing commission work and stuff like that. It like, it paid the bills, but not super significantly.
Yes.
Right?
Starving artist.
For a starving artist. That was like my, when you're a kid and you're like, I want to be an astronaut or whatever. I just want to be a painter. So I made that happen, but painting's really lonely. It's like, it's very isolating, right? Like, that's the thing I love about tattooing is that I come into the shop and, I got people I'm working with that, are my friends and my clients, and I get to socialize at least some of the time, right?
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, how much of your painting style is reflected in your tattoo style? Did that influence it a lot, or like in the beginning, was that a direct influence?
Not really, funny enough. Like, the funny thing is that I think I was more attracted to traditional tattoos, like on me. So like most of my tattoos are traditional. And then as an artist, I wanted to do more like classical realism. So, I kind of figured something in between, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
I really like tattoos that look like tattoos. And
yeah, so when I first saw your tattoos after I met you in Calgary, the two people that came to mind immediately was one of my favorite tattooers, Mina Aoki.
Oh, I love her. Yeah.
Right. And then that it's not the same, but Jamie Mahood from Austin.
Oh, totally.
I just kind of thought, like, seeing your style, I saw like those two artists and I was just like, that is like the coolest combination. Like this really cool, like kind of like toughness of the 80s, the stipple work and the heavy lines that's coming back, but then also that real softness too that you managed to get.
Yeah.
Very cool. Like very cool
Aww.
stuff. I love your stuff a lot, actually.
Thank you. That means a lot coming from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was like heavily kind of trying to go into that like Chicano style for a while.
Yeah.
But honestly, like I just found that like my shit was looking so much better coming back with like bolder lines.
Yeah.
So I think kind of having that nice contrast and line weight is really where I want to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you've, in 5 years, you've definitely, solidified your work in longevity in the way it's going to definitely, hold up over the years and stuff. It's nice to be able to find that stuff so early on, I think.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I looking at your work, I was really struck by just how strong the imagery was. Like you can make out what it is pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of tattooing today where you can't, if people don't execute well, it's hard to tell what the imagery is. Yeah. And I think you've got that classical style maybe you were trying for in your painting comes through in your tattooing because it's definitely classical proportions and it looks great.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I love doing portraits. But also it's like really important to me that like when your client steps back away from you, like across the room, you can still like see what it is.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to, put more black in my tattoos and like make them a little bolder, simplify them a lot too. Like I feel like every year I'm trying to like cut a little bit more shit out of my tattoos.
Oh, that's cool.
It's working, so keep it up.
So
let's get back to the apprentice.
Barcelona. I really want to hear about this apprenticeship in Barcelona. And how do you even go about that? It's such an interesting city to explore for tattoos.
So where did I leave off on? Okay, so we were in Switzerland. Lived there for a year. Did the painting thing. I was honestly kind of miserable there. Made some tattoo friends though. And then I went to Barcelona on holiday. And I totally fell in love with it. Have you guys been there?
I have not.
No, I've been to Spain, but never made it to Barcelona.
Oh my God. Barcelona is just like one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. And the people there, they're just like so alive and so warm, so friendly. And the tattoo scene there is like crazy.
Incredible.
I mean, you guys probably
Yeah.
know, right? But
Yeah.
so yeah, I went there and, you know, I met some crazy tattooers. Like I met Victor Chill, hung out with like some cool people, made some connections there. And then it was just like instantly, I was like, I need to fucking move there. Right.
Yeah.
So I just up and left everything again and moved into a very shitty apartment in the ghetto of Barcelona by myself,
Nice.
you know, a little 20-year-old girl. And I actually met a guy that lived in the same building as me. And at that time, that was like my main focus was like, okay, I want to find somewhere to apprentice, right? In this city where there's like there's like 3 tattoo shops on every fucking street corner. It's crazy. But yeah, one of the guys in my apartment building just happened to be a tattooer. And, you know, we got talking and he was like, oh shit, like you should come by my shop and like talk to my boss. So I went like, you know, the next day and brought my little portfolio and he hired me. So that was like my first, I had worked in a shop before, like in Victoria, doing desk stuff when I was 18, but that was like my first time working, like doing like the apprentice thing.
Nice. And what did that look like over there, an apprenticeship? What were your responsibilities and expectations?
It was a lot different than it was here. It was kind of like show up when you want to, but it wasn't like I felt like I wanted somebody to kind of like give me a little bit more like be a little harder on me almost. It was kind of like, you know, like come if you want, like answer the emails, like talk to the customers in English, and it was just a little like I don't know, it just felt a little flighty, right? Like
Okay, yeah. I just went through that. I have an apprentice right now, and for the first couple months, I kind of did that with him, just kind of let him flail and be on his own, just to kind of see if he'd stick with it, you know. And yeah, so now I'm a lot more structured with him, and he came to me and was like, I feel so much better with this structure. I know what's expected of me, and you know, and I've already see, you know, growth in what he's doing and stuff like that, because you know, direction helps. Absolutely. Some people don't feel that they need it, but you know, most people actually do need it. So
100%.
Especially when you're trying to learn a new craft. I mean, it's nice to have someone at least putting up guidelines and be like, okay, go this far, go over here, do this.
Yeah.
At least you know what you're supposed to be doing.
Especially when there's also like a language barrier too.
Sure. So how long were you there for?
I was only there for a few months. I was like so fucking broke at that time that like the idea of like, you know, having to pay my rent and shit and like spending all day there and like not making any money, I was just like I had to go work. So and it just wasn't like I said, it was just not structured enough. So just didn't really feel like the right time or place. But I did my first tattoo there and you know, I had that like under my belt. So I was feeling excited and motivated to find the right fit for that.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then what was your next step after that?
Well, I stayed in Spain for a couple more years and I did the painting thing and, you know, trying to figure out who the fuck I was. Ran out of money pretty hard. I did the gypsy thing. I kind of like, you know, ended up living with some random people. I did some nannying. I did some random odd jobs under the table stuff. I wasn't like legally allowed to work there because I wasn't a resident, but so I had to do things a little, you know.
So you're a tattoo pirate essentially in the making.
Yeah, at that time.
Yeah.
And then so basically what happened after that was I ended up moving back to Canada to try to like get my shit together because I kind of like fell into this like I was drinking a lot, I was like partying and I wasn't like taking care of myself and you know early
Yeah.
20s.
That's what you're
Yeah.
supposed to do.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and I was like, I really want to get my shit together. So I came home to the island, to Duncan, and stayed on my mom's couch. And it was like I started to feel like I should give up on it, because at that point I had been trying to get into tattooing for like 5 years, I think. Like I started like when I was 16, I was going around shops in Victoria trying to get an apprenticeship, but they were like, "You're a child," you know. Get the fuck.
Hey, I think Mina Aoki was like that young when she started hanging out at Funhouse, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, you know,
So-
looking back on that, I'm like, I'm so glad that I didn't apprentice somewhere when I was 16, man. Like,
Yes.
no, I mean, it's
Yeah,
too young.
emotionally, that would be a hard journey for anybody, I think. You know,
Yeah.
you're just not fully. How do you handle that social environment when you're
Oh, no.
so
I mean, fuck, I could
impressionable?
barely handle it when I was like 20, right? So
Yeah.
I had some growing up to do. I still do. I mean, I'm fucking 27. I'm still a baby.
I'm 51 and I'm still a fucking idiot.
You're
so
not
it's all good.
51.
I am 51. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
good for you. I'll have.
You should see him in person.
I met her in person,
I
loser.
He was
Okay, so Duncan, mom's couch,
mom's couch.
and then you just started kicking indoors.
And no, I was actually at the point where I was like, that's it. I'm going to go to hair school or something. I was just like, this is obviously not working, you know? And, and it was just like one of those like moments where the universe, I think, was listening, you know? So I started to try, like, I just like was trying to like, you know, figure out what to do next. So I ended up going to this art show in Duncan where it was funny. I actually met Jory there for the first time. It was like a bunch
Okay,
of
yeah,
actors,
Jory.
having like a random little art show. So it was Jory. Do you guys know who Tamu is?
Oh yeah.
Know the name.
Yeah, Tamu was there. Like basically all the tattooers of Duncan, right? But what really drew me to go to that was, do you guys know who David Gluck is? He's like a realist tattooer.
Mm.
Yeah, he used to work with Jory.
Yeah, he's a crazy, crazy oil painter. So obviously I knew him from that. So when I went there, he was like giving me the whole like, you really should get into tattooing kind of speech. And I was just like, oh man, you know, like I tried to do that and I think it's just not going to work out for me. And he was like, okay, well, like, you know, I think the art world's going to be pretty tough for you. Like, you know, at the time it was like all the galleries and shit were like going broke and like people just don't buy art anymore, you know?
Yeah.
So anywho, he ended up going to Albert Kane. That's who I ended up learning from. And he mentioned my name and he was like, this girl's talented. She deserves it. She's cool. She's got a lot of tattoos. Give her a chance. And so, he like wrote me like the next day and he told me that he just like went in and told him about me. And so I like,
That's cool.
yeah, I went in there and chatted with Albert and he hired me. So, yeah.
Nice.
He's taught some really solid tattooers how to tattoo. That's
Yeah. It was,
you know,
it was crazy watching him draw. Like, it's like watching like James Tex just like fucking sketch something crazy. Like he just was drawing shit on all the time. He's so talented. Yeah, I was really honored to have that opportunity with him.
Nice. And so where did you go from there?
So after I was working with Albert, I worked at Tattoo Zoo in Victoria.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was actually where I started working there when I was a teenager as a desk girl. So I kind of like went full circle, right?
Yeah.
nice.
I worked there for a bit. I worked at Union in Victoria for a couple of years. That was where I really found that like that was the perfect fit for me. That Union.
Okay. Yeah.
You know those guys? Greg Murphy?
I haven't met them. I've heard about them and stuff, but yeah, I haven't had an fortunate. I haven't been to the island for quite some time, so
Yeah, last time I was in Tattoo Zoo would have been, too long ago. Probably 15, 20 years ago.
Wild.
Yeah. I got tattooed by Eckel there back when Michael was still working and Colin was still there.
Oh, crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the last time I was there.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
a long time ago.
Yeah, long time ago.
Crazy how many people actually had a start at Tattoo Zoo. Like, I think James Tech started.
James Tex, went in and lied, said he knew how to tattoo, and he didn't. You know, and just started tattooing, and then we're gonna have Rob Hope on soon, so you get to hear his crazy story because he did the exact same thing. He went to a shop, said that he could tattoo, and they're like, "Cool, where's your portfolio?" He's like, I think he said he lost it or something stupid, and they're like, "Okay," and they hired him, and he started tattooing there. And they're like, "Hey, you need to bring a portfolio." And he's just like, "I gotta make a portfolio." He's like just taking pictures of all the stuff he's doing and then makes his portfolio. But yeah, he had tattooed a few friends and himself. That was it. And then
he's amazing.
That was the 90s though.
Yeah.
Guy, Rob.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
lovely.
Yeah. So now you're back further up the island, right?
Yeah, so now I'm in Chemainus. I just opened
cool.
It's just like a really little private studio. Just me and my best friend Ben. Yeah.
Cool.
It's super.
What's that called?
Blackwater Electric.
Oh,
Nice.
cool. Chemainus is a cool little town. I've been there. I really like that part of the island.
Super cute. Just really quiet, I like that. I'm a small town girl for sure. But I live in Duncan still.
Okay. Oh, so I'm not very familiar with that. So how long of a drive is that? Is that really close? Or?
It's like 20 minutes, so it's not bad.
Oh, that's not so bad. Yeah, that's not so bad at all. So.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at.
All right. So if you had any advice now to give your earlier self, what would it be?
I wish that I had stayed put a little longer, Yeah. And just kind of put my head down and stuck it out and like worked through things with people, because I feel like I was, with my early mentors, I didn't really give them enough time and energy when they were giving me. So
okay,
yeah, growing up, right?
Yeah.
I wish that I wasn't, drinking as much as I was.
Yeah. Well, you're still very young and you caught yourself early on. So, you can't really beat yourself down too much for that, right? Everybody goes through that. So,
I'm curious, as a younger tattoo artist, there's a lot of talk in the industry about younger tattoo artists not pulling their weight or working hard enough. I think it's all bullshit. Every generation says that about the generation before them. But I'm curious, from a younger tattooer's point of view, were there hurdles for you getting into the industry or starting out in the industry, or still see getting into an established industry, especially when that was so male dominated at the top for so long?
Yeah. So obviously things have really changed since I've been tattooing, right? Like there's so many more girls tattooing. I feel like because I did want to do the traditional like apprenticeship route, if I had just like wung it and done it myself, just it would have been quicker, but it wouldn't have been weird.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's fucking hard. Like I find it hard. And like I think I'm still gonna find it hard in 10, 20 years, right? Like, and I think it's really important to. It's not about the apprenticeship being hard. It's about someone telling you when you're fucking up,
Yeah, guidance.
And as much there was aspects of apprenticeship that were like hard in other ways, I feel like they toughened me up, and I feel like it was worth it for that,
Yeah. Now that you've been tattooing for a few years, if you were to bring somebody on and apprentice somebody, do you look at that from the other side a little bit differently? you have an expectation coming into tattooing of what a mentorship is. But then when you have some experience and you become or have the opportunity to become the mentor, are you looking at that differently?
I think if I had been tattooing for 25, 30 years, then I would feel like I had the ability to teach someone, but I'm still fucking learning,
Yeah.
Like, I still have days like to ask people questions. I have like my friend Shawn Welsh. He's here in Duncan. He's an amazing tattooer, and he's been great. I hit him up and I was like, hey, like, would you mind going for dinner with me? Because I'm trying to get back into color tattoos again.
Yeah.
And I think when you stop doing something for a long period of time, you do need like to freshen up, where you left off. So he's been nice enough to kind of like go over my stuff and tell me exactly how it is, like, what he thinks that I should make improvements on. And it's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. So you still actively look out for, for mentors or for like peer review kind of stuff in your growth?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. That's really smart.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something I do. I have, we'll probably talk about this every podcast. It's like, I have a small circle of people who were always texting pictures to one another. Like, what do you see and what do you think about this? And what about that? And they just make me better, and
being able to accept criticism too. It's like, that's really empowering as well. And realizing, you're never going to be better than everyone. Like, you can try your hardest, right? So there's always little room for improvement. And I'm just
absolutely.
Right.
I think the other side of that, of being able to accept criticism, is that the criticism you accept is from somebody who's willing to build you up. It's so easy to have wannabe mentors that just throw out criticism, but they don't offer you a way to grow or fix or become better.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. It sounds like you've had that in your life. That's I think that for a young tattooer, I think that's really important.
Yeah, I think it's the only way to get better, right? Like, if you ask people, and like, I don't know how my shit's gonna look in 10 years because I haven't been tattooing for 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. And so do you think the kind of your way into painting and your sketching and your drawing, all that stuff, do you think you're like diving into that and learning about that stuff is what allows you to remain always wanting to learn with tattooing? Or do you think that is actually just part of your personality? If no matter what you were doing, you would always be wanting to kind of better it and do more?
I'm definitely, I'm kind of like all consumed with tattooing at the moment. I really love it though. Like, I think for like the first few years, I didn't really prioritize it as much as I do now. Just because I was kind of distracted by a lot of like life stuff, personal things. But I'm in this kind of place now where I'm really, really excited about it again. And I feel like when you're excited about it, you can see it,
Absolutely.
So tattooing for like 25 years or whatever, and you have all that experience, you can make solid tattoos. You can still tell when people like lose excitement for it,
Yep. Oh yeah. I've definitely had my ups and downs with that stuff throughout the years, It's like
same. Yeah. I've quit tattooing before.
Yeah.
Both of us, right?
Yeah.
Quit, come back.
I quit tattooing for almost 2 years, and I did tiling for $14 an hour.
My boyfriend also quit tattooing for a bit.
Yeah, I think it's more common than we talk about. I know a couple other tattooers who have quit and come back to it. I think it's so easy in this profession, especially when you're younger in your career, to work yourself silly and to go past burnout and continue working and get miserable. And being an artist is so full of self-doubt. And when you're young and if you're not surrounded by good people, I think it's pretty easy to get there.
Oh, totally. And it's funny too, like having had been a painter as a job, like an oil painter, it was like, my painting with my clients, I was like, well, it takes what it takes, right? And
Yeah.
you know, my deadlines were very loosey-goosey, whereas now it's like, I have to have design done for that person who's coming in, right? So we don't really allow ourselves to have those periods of time where we're like having artist block or whatever. Right?
No.
No, not allowed.
So
No.
that has been really interesting to navigate for me. It's like having to like push through that, because there's the time where I'm like, the last thing I want to fucking do is go home and draw tonight. You know, you're working all gotta go home and draw until you fucking fall asleep. I gotta do that. I gotta draw tonight. So sometimes it feels like it never ends, but I try to like see those moments where I'm feeling like that, where I'm feeling like almost like resentful a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to just like, okay, like let's try to like dial it back, take an extra day off this week, you know? And I'm honest with my clients. I want to do what I can. And if I'm just like, you know, feeling burnt out, you're not going to get the best thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Totally. So how did you, because you mostly do custom.
Yeah.
So you're clearly drawing a lot. Yeah. How did you manage to not just fall into kind of, I don't want to call it a trap, but that easy, I'm drawing all this stuff and then I'm only tattooing this stuff? Have you thought of doing that? Did you do that at any point?
I did. Yeah. For a while there, when my work started picking up a bit more, I got really busy with that, like, you know, the fine line, stipple flowers.
Yeah.
And like, you can be booked out for 3 years with that shit if you just say yes to everything.
Yeah.
And I was so miserable. Like, and don't get me wrong, flowers are great. We love flowers.
Yeah.
You know, there's got to be some variety.
Yeah.
So for me, what I actually ended up doing is I was, you know, kind of offering it out there. Okay, I want to do more. I think people just forget and like throw it out there. Like, and if you act like you're excited about it, people are excited to get what you're excited about, you know?
100%. Yeah.
Totally.
So I did some pre-drawn ladies. That's obviously like my favorite thing to tattoo is ladies.
Yeah.
And, you know, offered like a discount rate just to get some out there for people to see.
Yeah.
Unless people are seeing it, they don't know what the fuck you're going to do for them, right?
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, because, you know, I know a lot of older guys. I fall into, I'm like, oh, fuck, it's just all pre-draw. I'm only doing this. I'm only doing that. But it's like, I get it. When you're tattooing that much and it's all custom, you need a break. That's actually like a genius way these younger tattooers have come up with a way to give themselves a break. Sit down, power out all these drawings, up for grabs. I'm only tattooing this stuff for the next 3 months. And it's like, man, that's awesome. Like,
totally.
Why can't I do that?
Well, the thing too is that, like, you know, just like I said, people don't know what they want. They see it. And like,
totally
have the artistic brain, like, not a,
yeah.
So, I always try to like remember that, like, unless I show people this cool option, they're gonna revert to Pinterest and show me this design that someone else has already done 50 times, right?
Yeah.
So,
I'm really curious, because you were a painter and you obviously were supporting yourself with it for a while. The dream for, I think, most tattooers would be to be able to paint and make money off art as well as tattooing. Yeah. How are those two crafts different? Because I know some artists and I know the differences they say and see in the two crafts, but from someone who's been in it, I'm really curious.
Well, like I mentioned before, it's like very different in the fact that like you're alone a lot, right? You're isolated. I mean, I'm sure there's people could get around that, like if you worked in like a collective studio or something like that, but
shared space.
It's a really personal thing. And like if you really want to focus in on it, like you can spend lots of time alone. And oil painting takes so fucking long. Like some of my paintings took months. And And then, like, how do you put a price tag on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, here's literal months of my life for $1,000, you know?
Yeah.
So you come into tattooing. How does that? What's the opposite side of that?
Well,
from an artist's point of view,
obviously it feels a lot more like almost kind of like you're working in a factory because you're like continuing pumping out different things all the time. You're not just focused on one thing and, you know, spending all the time in the world on it, because you have to think about their budget, their body, how long they can sit, like all sorts of things. But it's much more consistent. That's the nice thing. And, you know, one of those things, if you end up like running into financial trouble, you can always like make a little extra money by taking on those little tattoos, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But the coming to a tattoo studio has got the social aspect, I guess, is really what I'm trying to dive into. What that is, because you'd mentioned earlier about it being very lonely, and then a tattoo studio is probably the hardest place to be lonely.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, I was really socially awkward before I started tattooing. It definitely got me out of my shell a lot, and I think it made me much more confident. Yeah, just like I found it so much easier to talk to people after, because it's like practice, right? And you kind of, I've noticed too, like other tattooists as well, they have like their funny little like routine things that they say every day. You know,
like a script.
Yeah, I'm guilty.
But,
yeah,
you know, service voice, right?
Yeah. Yeah, our late friend Chris Ivans, he was on the spectrum, so he was kind of self-taught personality. And I remember when he came to work with us at Classic Tattoo, I was drawing and he was behind me, and I hear him just say like, "Oh, so how about that weather?" And I just turn and look at him, and he's like, looks at me and shakes, and he's like, "See, I could be social." He's like so fucking awkward. He's like the most awkward guy ever, but he would try and like, "Oh, this might be normal. How's the weather?" It's like, dude, that's not actually how people talk. Yeah. He was great. Yeah. He would ask people like 3 questions like, "Hey, do you like nerdcore hip hop?" They'd be like, "No." "Oh, okay. How about physics?" "No." And then something else. And then he would, if they didn't like those 3 things, he would just shut down. And then just tattoo them in complete silence. Like, nah, this person's just, yeah. Yeah.
The weird. I think we're all just a bunch of weirdos, right? So.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We have to be to live in this clown world that we put ourselves through, the stress of this, because I'm sure there was stress, financial stress with painting, but probably not the same kind of stress that we have with tattooing, where, like you said, we're always on. It's like just constantly like, we got to be doing it.
You're creating and you're performing at the same time. You know, like you have to put on a personality while you're being creative, like, which is totally foreign.
You gotta look presentable, you know? Like, especially when wear my pajamas to work.
Yeah.
Gotta be. I see tattooers with headphones on tattooing, and I'm always like, that rude bastard. And then I'm like, that lucky bastard. Holy shit. Like, how do I get there? You know, I'm talking nonstop to my clients.
I would feel so weird doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't be able to. I did it once before, and I was just like, yeah, I can't do this. So
I get it at a convention, you know, like there's so much fucking distraction, but I've seen it in studios. I'm just like, oh
yeah.
Like,
yeah. I came in the other day, and all these guys, there was no clients in the shop, but I come in and there's 3 guys in here. They all have headphones on because they're all listening to their own shit. And I'm just like, it's so weird. And then I'll come in and there's like no music on. And I'm just like, oh my God. Yeah, it's so weird. And there's like 2 of them will be tattooing and there's like no music on or whatever, because they just were like, whatever, can't decide on music. I'm like, hey, you guys need You guys need to put something on the goddamn stereo.
It's so
Especially like working with somebody like that. Like, I like the banter. I like the like talking to somebody across the room. You know.
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah. So yeah, we're usually yelling at each other and stuff, but sometimes the no music thing is weird. Yeah, definitely. So
That is super weird. I wouldn't like it.
yeah.
No, it's funny how many tattoo shop arguments come down to the music. You know, like
That is
I can remember Sacred Heart back in the day. We'd have, God, 5-6 artists in a shop, and we had to have a CD player with 5 or 6 different CDs in it. Everyone could pick one CD and put it in and play it, and it was just everyone had a turn. It was fucking brutal.
Ask Dave Kruk the next time you see him what happened when he changed my music at Classic Tattoo.
what happened.
He changed my music at Classic Tattoo, and the speakers were mine actually at Classic. So we had just finished building the shop, and the in-wall speaker system wasn't set up yet. So I had speakers up, and the cord like came down the side of the road. And he changed the music, and he thought it was funny because he had done it more than once. So I walked by with a pair of scissors and just cut the cord.
Oh my.
And went outside for a smoke. And then I came back in, and he had wired them back up. So I just cut a big chunk out of the wire and threw it in the garbage. So there was no more music.
Sean's subtle sometimes. His subtlety can never be understated enough.
Yeah. I've been accused of being passive aggressive.
No. Oh my God.
Oh, Kitty.
Oh,
Kitty.
Yeah.
Which cat's name?
Incho.
Oh, nice.
we had a request for Shawn to have his cat on the podcast again.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
hilarious. Yeah. Wow. I'm not going to bring Peanut to the tattoo shop.
No.
Yeah. Next time I record from home, I'll have her sit and scratch me on my shoulder.
Line is that he'll just be like all up in my business. If
Yeah. So will mine. She'll just sit beside me and scream at me. She's the worst. Yeah. So Dave, you got some sorry, go ahead.
You did your first convention. That's exciting. Have you done guest spots at all?
I haven't done a single guest spot yet.
What?
I have
What's holding you
Really?
back? What's holding you back?
I've just been working like crazy, and I
Yeah.
don't know. I guess I just felt kind of I don't know, a little landlocked on the island. Honestly, like I know it sounds like an excuse, but it's like a fucking ordeal getting off of this island sometimes.
Well, yeah. But
Yeah,
if
makes
you
sense.
like your home and you like your studio and you like your life and you're busy,
Yeah.
right? You know, you
Oh.
don't really feel that drive to leave.
Well,
So, but hey, come to Edmonton anytime you
I would
want.
love that. No, now that I'm like in my own space, I definitely feel like I want to do that more now that I can, right?
Yeah.
Especially because, like I was saying earlier, like I feel like I have lots to learn, and like that's the best way to learn, right? Is like going and working at people's shops.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
excited to do that. I'm gonna do lots of guest spots this year.
Cool.
Why don't you put out a wish list? Whose shops would you like to do guest spots at? Who do you want to work with? Maybe they'll hear on here and they'll give you the
I
call.
really want to work with the guys at Black Rider. They're super.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
They're just so,
they would totally have you
and
there.
they're all amazing too.
Yeah.
You guys,
Well, now you have Carlos on the island, right?
I know it's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
work
Yeah.
with Miles and Bobby.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, those two are great.
Yeah, that's gonna.
We got to get them on a podcast. I interviewed them for the micro podcast, but we should do a long form with the two of them.
Yeah, for sure.
That'd be
So,
Miles is a hoot, and Bobby's so sweet.
yeah. So
my whole back piece.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So if you were to drive across Canada, what are some of the shops that you would want to have a guest spot at? Let's get you on tour.
Yeah, totally. You got to give us a cut though. We want 5% of everything you make.
Love to work with Jax. But I actually really love to work with Shay. You said that you guys just talked with her, right?
Yeah. Shay was just over here visiting me. Yeah. So we'll talk about that later off air. Yeah.
What was it?
Yeah. Oh no, it wasn't a secret that she was here, but yeah. So I don't know. There might be some stuff up and coming. We're gonna have her on the podcast soon too. In March, I believe we have her booked. So,
Cool.
yeah.
Obviously, I'd love to work with you guys sometime. James.
Yeah.
It's nice to say that.
No, I feel like I know more European tattooers than Canadian. Like, I'm like a little out of the loop.
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with that. So who, if you could go to Europe for a month, where would you want to go and who would you want to work with?
Oh man, I really want to go work with my friend Matt. He works at Old Love Tattoo in Zurich.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean he's amazing. He does amazing Japanese stuff. So I'd love to go work with him. My friend Jack Gallowtree too. He like offered me a guest spot. He's in England. Can't remember where in England he is. He's super cool too. Yeah, it was funny actually. Do you guys know who Alex Snellgrove is?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I actually met her in Zurich at Matt's shop. And she, for me now, is like one of the coolest ladies in tattooing for sure. Like she's super cool. And and I met her in Zurich just like by chance. She was doing a guest.
That's cool.
Yeah, so she like travels a lot, and she's kind of like, I'm like, I want to be like her, you know.
Cool.
Yeah.
Got to have your heroes. Got to have your mentors.
Right?
Yeah. All right. Why don't we play this little? Take a look at some photos of your work.
Yes.
Like this stuff is so cool. Like I love how much black you have in this. The contrast is really heightened, and such a simple composition. It's that's a great tattoo.
So good.
That was one of those tips that one of my friends gave me, was to bump the contrast up, because I was doing things a lot more like with just gray wash, right? I didn't really think to put it's a little scary putting a bunch of black in tattoos.
For sure.
Yeah, but you know
how hard was it for you to not do anything in those blossoms up top?
I was going to say the same thing. That's the hard part.
You know what? I've had a couple friends that have told me that I should have put a little bit of shading in there.
No,
not
at all. And that's the thing, is that all of us would totally do that until we see somebody else leave it out and be like, oh, that's the way you should have done it. Fuck.
Oh.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
that's
good.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I don't know. I just felt like it needed even more, like, you know, space.
Okay. This fucking tattoo.
It's so powerful.
Okay,
and like you're
about this tattoo. This girl came from Ottawa, so like super fucking far, and it was her first tattoo.
What?
Badass.
Yeah. She's fucking tough. And yeah, she just like let me do my thing. Didn't even see it first. She's rad.
Yeah, just the consistency in those giant whip pointillism in those leaves is just like on point. To, you know, pun intended.
I love that you've been able to put a heavy line weight in there, because so many people don't do that or are afraid to, and this doesn't look any less feminine than a fine line tattoo. You know,
that's what I'm always trying to tell people too, because I think girls are worried about that, right? They're worried about it looking masculine, but it's the subject matter, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. This is Elvira. That's my like 10-year-old boy crush right there.
Mm-hmm. This is the stuff that reminds me of, you know, the 80s, the Freddie Negretti, Jack Rudy, the now Mina Aoki, all that stuff, but with the modern twist of like the cholo, but just much heavier in contrast and stuff. It's just so fucking nice.
That hair is incredible. Like the highlights on the hair, I think the thing that impresses. I can never fucking do that. I never get it right.
But her hair was a 3, which is crazy. But
and going in and just I talked about this on one of Ryan's tattoos. The simple use of white in the right spots is just so key. I would have just put white all in through that like an idiot, and then afterwards been like, that's too much.
Yeah, I just dial that back to like I used to put a ton of white, and then I, it comes back, and you're like, it looks a little bit much, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It
So
looks so
goddamn
tough with
good.
the barbed wire down there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool to make a fine line tattoo that looks tough. Like,
Yeah. And just that high contrast. It's going to last forever. God damn, your stuff's so clean.
Thank you.
yeah.
Those glasses are
Yeah.
fucking cool.
it's
So this kind of, when you do something like this, are you referencing, what are you using for reference, I guess is the question.
So I use a bunch of different things for reference for this. I always use real face. And then there's this girl on Instagram that makes these fucking amazing wigs. And they're just like all like crazy curly, and like I look at her wigs as a reference for hair a lot.
Cool.
Yeah, because it's got like lots of cool like like wavy. I don't know. It's fun.
Lots of movement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love seeing tattoos with women smoking for some reason. They always look so...
I know, sexy.
It's rad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that little headband, like, but those glasses and those lips actually look wet.
Yeah.
Like, so smart. Everything about that is just so smart. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I got nothing for this. This is just amazingly perfect.
Oh,
For someone who's been tattooing 5 years, I'm
5 years.
Beyond jealous of your technical ability.
Yeah.
Like the softness on the cheek there next to the hair at the bottom. Like the tones are so well done. The line work is crisp. It's
a real big mag for all the shading in the face.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And sometimes the opaque gray almost goes in a little like softer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So is this on a forearm or a calf?
That's a forearm, lady forearm. So it was actually
that's
small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of detail in a small area, but it has so much room to breathe. Like, it's going to age well.
Try to keep it pretty simple, legible.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
That's cool. Just put a few more little skulls in there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Just, like early, like 80s, early 90s, like heavy metal mag, like Rosetta.
Oh, I love that stuff.
Like, I love the line work tattoos on her shoulder and back. That's a nice touch.
Yeah.
This one.
Tattoos on tattoos are like, that's the magic.
It's fun.
Yeah, this is dope too.
That was reference to that hair lady.
I was just going to say the hair is just so nice. So much movement.
Yeah. It's not all blacked out. It's dark and has black in it, but it's not all blacked out. Like that's...
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
You do great noses.
Yes.
This is my favorite one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what it is about the composition, but it's got such nice movement right from the tail all the way up to the hand at the top. It's great. Everything just carries your eye right through it perfectly.
Yeah.
I was looking at lots of James Tex mermaids for reference for that one, actually. He does some amazing mermaids.
Yeah, it's the only thing he knows how to draw.
Yeah, he can't draw anything else.
Nothing else.
He's a one-trick pony, that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and then just the high contrast of those of the highlights down the arm and around the breasts and stuff. Super cool. So good.
This one. One sec.
Did you not get any of her paintings, Dave? What the hell is wrong with you?
I didn't send any. Oh.
What?
No. There we go.
Oh.
Yeah, look at that thing. How big is that?
That is... God, I don't know. Probably the size of your...
That's insane. So I'm curious, how long does a tattoo like that take you?
That took me, I think, about 4 hours. Something.
Fuck.
That's real good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Those eyes are so striking. Those eyebrows too. Like,
This was during a period of time where I was being asked to do Medusas a lot, and I was just real tired of doing them all the same, you know?
yeah,
Because it's not hard to make them all look the same. So I was trying to do something a little different.
Yeah, no, it's
very cool.
I love the combination of the snakes. It's a nice take on a Medusa theme, you know, like without making her look too many Medusa themed tattoos just look brutal.
Yeah.
Like hard.
Yeah. Yeah, those eyes and eyebrows make me think of Cara Delevingne.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super cool. Yeah, I would love to see some paintings. We should send over some and maybe I can add them in.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's okay. You just posted that the little ones the other day from like 2019, 2020. You and your little studio there and stuff like that, and just impressive. Like the scale and the talent itself. You know, it's really cool. I think that, you know, everybody should go and check out Luna Lucero on Instagram.
Yeah, absolutely.
And see all of your work, because it's thoroughly impressive. 5 years in and just getting better. So, yeah.
Yeah, can't wait to see what the next 5 years brings you.
Thank you. I'm stoked
Yeah.
to keep learning, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
Yeah. Cool. This has been a fun conversation.
Very much so. Are you doing any of the upcoming conventions?
not at the moment. No.
No. All right.
Are you?
All right. You're just gonna be a hermit at home.
Well, Dave and I are gonna do some live podcasting from the Edmonton Tattoo Show, out of a van.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing creepier than two old dudes in a van.
That's right.
And then we're gonna, I believe we're gonna be also.
Oh, so you're gonna have people there come in?
Yeah, and then we're gonna be at Kelowna also. We'll be at the Okanagan Tattoo Show also.
I'm gonna see if we can roll the old van into the convention, and maybe we can do it right in the convention hall.
That would be amazing.
I can't wait.
Yeah. So it should be fun.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
We'll probably be in the parking lot plugged in.
Be in the parking lot. Yeah. Be in the parking lot and as random people walk by, just slide the door open. Hey man, you want to come in and talk on the radio?
Free candy.
Thank you so much for joining us on So You're Kind of a Big Deal, because Luna Lucero, if you're not a big deal now, you will be very soon. And
thanks so much, and we can't wait to see what you do next, and hopefully we'll see you at a convention soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
No problem.
No
Take
worries.
care.
The Hold Fast Social Club presents So You're Kinda a Big Deal, with your hosts, Shawn, Hedley, and Dave Allen.